A man raised by shadows doesn't fear the dark. You weren't born with armor. You weren't handed a path paved with light. You were dropped into the cold, alone, unheard, unseen. And from the moment you opened your eyes, you knew this world wasn't going to save you. So you stopped waiting. You weren't raised in safety. You were raised in silence. And the shadows, they weren't strangers. They were the only things that stayed. You learned to live without comfort. You adapted to absence. And where others found fear in the dark, you found home. You see, people fear the dark because it blinds them. But when you've spent your life in the shadows, you don't need eyes to see. You navigate by instinct, by pain, by purpose. You weren't made to be seen. You were made to be unshakable. The world tried to define you, tried to cage you in failure, tie you down with doubt, call you worthless because you came from nothing. But you never listened to the noise, because the silence shaped you. When no one came to save you, you taught yourself to fight. You didn't learn by being protected. You learned by bleeding, by crawling through broken glass, by standing back up when your knees were shattered and your will was the only thing left. Strength was never gifted to you. You stole it from the fire. There were nights that tried to kill you, but you're still here. There were voices that told you to quit, but you kept moving. Not because it was easy, but because quitting was never an option. You had no safety net, no fallback plan, just pain and the decision to make something out of it. You turned failure into focus. You turned isolation into identity. And now, when others panic in the dark, you smile, because this is where you were made. When you're forged in shadows, the dark doesn't scare you. It obeys you. You don't flinch at pressure. You don't crumble at loss. You don't beg for light, because you became your own. You are proof that pain builds warriors, not instantly, not beautifully, but relentlessly. You were chiseled by betrayal. You were sculpted by rejection. And you were hardened by being forgotten. But you never forgot who you were becoming. Not soft, not safe, but solid. They thought the darkness would break you. They didn't know it was feeding you. There's something dangerous about a man who survived with nothing. Because when everything you needed was taken away, you were still standing. You stopped fearing loss. You stopped fearing pain. You become unbreakable. And now, you don't chase approval. You don't wait for permission. You move like someone who's earned every scar because you have. You carry your silence like a sword, your scars like armor, your past like a weapon. Not to hurt others, but to carve your place into a world that tried to erase you. You don't fear the dark because you built yourself inside of it. Let them mock, let them doubt. You've heard worse, you've lived worse, and still, you rise, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Because deep inside, beneath the pain, beneath the silence, there was always a fire. Small at first, but impossible to kill. That fire, it's your will, your purpose, your power. And now it burns through everything that tried to contain you. They buried you, but they forgot. You're a seed, not a stone's. You didn't just survive the dark. You became it, and not the kind that destroys, but the kind that builds, quietly, powerfully, patiently. You see, those raised in light crumble when it fades, but you rise, because your strength was born in silence, in setbacks, in solitude. And now, you walk with something they can't teach. Presence, purpose, precision. You don't waste energy proving who you are. You show it through discipline, through resilience, through the way you refuse to fall when everything goes black. You don't need to be seen to be powerful. You just need to be certain. So if you're still in the dark right now, stay there. Don't rush the light. The shadows still have more to teach you. Let the world misunderstand. Let them misjudge. They only see the surface. But you know who you are. And when you rise from the shadows, you won't be loud. You'll be unstoppable. A man raised by shadows fears nothing. Not because he's fearless, but because he's faced everything. They wanted you to break. You didn't. They expected you to fade. You rose. Now, you're not just walking forward. You're building an empire from every scar, every wound, every silent night that tried to bury you. So don't apologize for your darkness. Don't hide your scars. They are the evidence of evolution. They are the marks of someone who refused to be erased. You weren't raised in light, but you became one. A man who walks out of the shadows. Doesn't need the sun, he becomes it.